Okay, so as promised, I'm going to be responding to subscriber comments on the main channel. I have one here from Let's Go. Tim, please write a Substack on the topic of the houseplant influencing the probability of light placement. This warrants a lot more discussion. You know, there's a study that I referenced, and I saw it on Twitter where it was popularized. I would just say go to that. I'm not really inclined to speculate too much because it gets into new age and woo and wishful thinking and all of this law of attraction stuff, which is great and people want to hear it. Some people, especially new agers, want to hear it. But I don't believe that we're all genies, walking around just granting our own wishes. And though there may be some subject here worth discussing as far as causality and co-creation, etc., I don't know if this is the place for it. And I don't want to attract too many more mystics into what is supposed to be an objective takedown of the mass media's lie infrastructure. But I do find all of this very interesting. Psy Girl says, Beijing weather modification, at least the Chinese communists have the integrity to tell their own population what they're up to, not to worry. IPS insists it's all imaginary. I do. Well, not that it's imaginary. That's kind of a straw man. But I would say that your paranoia is unfounded, that you have become an alarmist. And a climate change alarmist and a chemtrail alarmist are the same people. It's the same phobia, same fear, same brainwashing. You're just the mirror image. It's like a funhouse mirror and a funhouse mirror. And you're each distortions of the extremes, just caricatures. And you, of course, both agree on the premise that the world is ending, that the climate is undergoing some catastrophe because Bill Gates or capitalism, take your pick. It's a partisan psyop. And if there is something to worry about, how come you don't have chemtrail lung? You've been hitting these things for 20 years. You've been experiencing it. You've been experiencing geoengineering. Where's the proof? And I also want to point out that truthers don't know what geoengineering means. It doesn't mean secret government projects that manipulate the weather. It means hypothetical solutions to a hypothetical problem, meaning in case they can remediate climate change in any way, they may do these things, or at least they've posited these things as a contingency. But none of these things have been demonstrated to be effective. And how can they be effective anyway if the problem they're meant to be solving is entirely hypothetical? So nothing to worry about. You can sleep soundly, breathe the air, don't fear the clouds, don't fear the 5G. 360 Pig says YouTube's former chief Susan Wojcicki dies at 56. Yeah, or she faked her death to dodge the lawsuit. I'm sure she was culpable. She was there during that time. 360 says Lynn stole the show. Good points, especially at 131. Crowd reaction was very odd. And what show was that? Oh, that was the Fako Trump assassination with Lynn Ertel in IPS. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we both agreed, for the most part, that it wasn't real. Chemdoozlers are triggered, says Thirst for Truth. Oh, yeah, they are like kind of like religious people when you start attacking their myths. They get emotionally triggered, and they're very emotional. They emote. I'm not emotional about it. I'm not even worried. And they're emotional because I'm not emotional. It's supposed to be contagious. Catch my fear. Catch my paranoia. You know, like Chicken Little, the acorn hits her on the head, and she gets all the other animals to follow her around. Like, I'm not going to follow some Chicken Little climate change paranoiac, nor am I going to follow a chemtrail believer who disingenuously says, oh, no, we don't believe in chemtrails. We believe in stratospheric aerosol injection and HARP. No, you said chemtrails. You can't change your conspiracy theory midway through. Like, you need to stop it. And anyway, until you have something that you can cough up, like literally, until you can demonstrate chemtrail lung, there's no evidence for it. What do you have to show for 20 years of paranoia? 20 years of bloviating other than possibly contributing to global warming, which I don't believe in it, but hypothetically, if it's caused by CO2 output, I would say that the chemtrail people have added more than their share. Rab MCM says, to be honest, I've always been skeptical about chemtrails. However, this issue about government documents raises a good quandary. Yeah, it does. Because if the argument is government docs say this, then government docs say moon landings. Government docs say a lot of things. So either it's a source or it's not a source. You can't make the argument from government docs and drop it like you have a pretty good hand in this debate, a good argument, when you don't. I don't trust your government docs. And truthers will say, well, you can trust leaked docs. No, that's called reverse psychology. And who do you think is leaking them? Limited hangout operatives who want to study you and control what you think. Rab MCM says, I was concerned about the trails 10 years ago when RFB was conveniently placed in my suggested videos over time. I wonder how the people of elite importance could avoid these and slowly talk myself out of the topic. Kicking chemtrails to the curb got easier when finding out how shilly RFB was. Richie from Boston lost me on April Fool's Day 2020 when he said that the internet was going to be shut down and that he's like, go to my website and order storable food items because everything's going to shut down. And I'm like, well, if everything shuts down, how am I going to get my order? And he said he's going to be picked up by some black SUV and government agents, men in black. So he's going to be gone. So if I want to complain about my lost order, who do I call? Anyway, that never happened. And he's made many such predictions. So no, he lost me. And at one point, I did believe that his voice, his trademark voice, was actually caused by chemtrail-induced vocal fry. Like breathing in all the chemtrails fried his vocal cords. But no, it was vaping in his Jeep with the windows rolled up. SR Gare 35 says, it's safe to say Musk, like CNN, has military psyops personnel embedded at X. Wouldn't be surprised if they suggest choice for his content. Yes. Twitter is the internet, social media is a military operation. It's all mind control. Do you think says Cool Keith has a song Space Mountain on Black Elvis 2 album. Banger. We'll take a look. Clark IB777 says, Tim, get the white dudes for Harris shirt. I haven't decided which one I'm going to wear, but I'm going to be wearing a Harris for President shirt to show my support. I'm voting for Harris as a protest vote against Trutherville, which is an extension of the GOP, sadly. Leo says there is no grandmother. Nope, it's all wolf. You know, it's like, oh, there's the shallow state and the deep state, and we want to defeat the deep state. No, there is no deep state. There is only the state. It's a trick. Okay, we'll talk about this and more live here shortly. So thank you for subscribing. I just wanted to get to your comments first, as always. And there'll be much more to discuss. If you go to my minds.com/Infinite Plane Society, you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to talk about. It's minds.com/Infinite Plane Society. It's my receipts. For all of the extraordinary claims that I make, it's important that I show my receipts. And if you scroll through here, you'll be able to see everything. In fact, I want to see what happened with the Tom Cruise Paris Olympics closing ceremony. Okay, well, hopefully I'll see some of you in chat, and thank you for subscribing.